what is maybe some things that you think people that you're like, I don't want to say you're standard guitarists, but metal guitarists, prog guitarists, or just guitarists in general of sort of contemporary music. What do you think maybe is a lesson that they could take from your years of academia that you think this isn't being served as best it could by guitarists at the moment?
Well, the thing is, a lot of the things that I've become kind of passionate about, like in a compositional sense, tend to fit into that kind of gap. Like my instinctive answer, and there's a couple of answers that came into my mind as you were asking that, but my instinctive answer is harmony. And I don't just mean that in this kind of, bourgeois, like bringing in all of this kind of jazz stuff necessarily, which you do actually see that a lot in progressive metal nowadays. It's more just that harmony in like a lot of popular music styles tends to revolve around a surprisingly small little batch of chords. It's funny because you actually mentioned that early on in our chat today. I think if I remember, there was this recent kind of meta study that I passed, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's like the second chord in a pop song, the most common second chord is a repetition of the first, then it's the fourth, like the subdominant, by like 60 or 70%, something like that, or some variation of a subdominant, so it could be a two chord as well. Basically, like short way of saying we use fuck all chords in rock music, and there's a lot of color and a lot of variety and a lot of just compositional intrigue that can be created outside of that, even going through to, exploring kind of modal harmony and, other ways of expressing harmony. So, I mean, that's one I immediately think of. But another one, which is a little bit more oblique, it's maybe not as obvious, is especially music fans kind of recognizing the link between like culture and music. So, you look at like progressive rock, and it's almost impossible to understand early progressive rock without looking at how almost overnight you had this weird change in the culture of listening to music, where people suddenly knew, thanks to mainly like the Beatles, that you could be both a connoisseur of music and a music writer yourself. And you got to think, like, if that suddenly changes in culture, what changes about the music? Well, like 1969, music like overnight becomes long and protracted and exploratory. And the thing is, the story of music, you can find those little catalyzing moments in almost any movement. So, whenever I talk to like kind of like pundits, like people who know a lot about a particular type of music, but then maybe have their ears shut to other stuff, there's this beauty to looking at why things happen in music, which is almost as interesting as the things happening themselves.